everybody, it's Sarah from Crafty Creatures, here with your Spooky Woods Little Red Riding Hood painting. Today we're going to need a canvas and a pencil. We're going to layer in our paintbrushes. We need our paints and our little big paint pots. We'll need a paper plate for mixing some colors, and we'll need some water for washing brushes. Now we're going to want to lay our canvas like I have here. That's called portrait, so it's taller than it is wide. Then about a quarter of the way down, we're just going to draw a somewhat straight line. And we're going to start by adding a couple of skinny trees that go from the top to that line. They're not going to go over that line, they're just going to kind of go to the top and the bottom there. And you can have them have some gaps. Now I know it's a little hard to see because I'm drawing light. We want to draw nice and light, that way if we need to erase we can. And it also won't smudge too much on our canvas. So we're just going to want to add 2, maybe 3 of these trees, maybe 4, it depends on how many other trees we add. So these are our farthest trees, so these are the farthest away from us. Then we're going to add a couple more trees. These ones we can have some more branches coming off of them. They're going to be a bit thicker. They are also going to end below that ground line. So see how here I brought it just a little bit below that line. And these ones want to be a bit thicker than our first couple trees. These trees are a little bit closer to us. We just want to add 2, maybe 3 of these guys. Next, we're going to add a little red. So we're just going to draw a triangle with the bottom side down. And then just at the top of that triangle, we're going to draw another triangle, this time on its side, to make the hood. That's all we're going to do for her. We're not going to make her look super complicated. This is kind of a cartoony picture. And it ends up looking really cool. We can also erase the lines inside of Little Red. That way they don't leave a mark. Then from the bottom corners, we're going to draw a bigger, more detailed tree. This one's going to have some spooky branches coming off of it. This one can overlap some of our other trees. And it's going to be a bit thicker. This tree is going to be kind of in front, so it's going to end well below the canvas. We're not going to see where this tree ends. Now you can add another one in the other corner if you want, or you can just go on to drawing the wolf. Just drawing the back of the head, so just give it some ears and some kind of fuzzy lines along the side of the head, because wolves are actually quite fluffy. This guy's going to be kind of in that other bottom corner, and we're not going to see too much of him. I added one more little tree that's farther in the background just because I had a big gap there that I wanted to fill. Alright, good job. Now it is time to move on. We're going to start by doing some painting. We're going to take a nice big glob of white paint and just a little bit of blue paint. We're going to mix that really well to make a nice light blue. So we're going to fill in all the sky around our trees. We're going to try not to go over them if we can. And we also aren't going to paint in the ground at all. We're actually going to leave the ground white. Now you may have to switch back and forth between your big brush and your small brush. And just try to keep track of what is tree and what is sky. So take your time on this part. So once you finish filling in the last of that sky, let's wash our paintbrushes super well. So for our next couple steps, we're going to do a lot of color mixing. So we're going to take a really good sized glob of white. Get nice and big. And then with our small brush, we want to use a small brush because we want just a little bit. We're just going to take a bit of black. And we're going to mix it into that white to make a light gray color. We're going to mix it really good till there's no spirals of other color left. It's all one. And we're going to start with those far away trees. Those are the ones that stop at our ground line, and we're going to fill them in with this light gray paint. Reasons we do these ones first is because these are farthest away, so we want them to be lighter and they'll get darker as we get closer to them. So make sure you fill in the right trees. You can even make a little tiny mark with a pencil just to help keep track if you're having trouble figuring out which one is which. And once we finish filling in those faraway trees, we're going to fill in the next one. So these are the ones that end below the ground line. And we're going to add a bit more black to that gray. That's where we start with a bunch. And we're just going to make a darker version. Now we don't want it too dark. We want it kind of in the middle. So if our first gray was kind of like a 1 or a 2 in the grays, this is kind of right in the middle, like a 3. So if 0 was white and black was 5, this is kind of right in the middle, right in a 3. And we're going to fill in our other trees, our kind of middle trees with this color. So again, take your time. It's a little easier now that we filled in the back trees and we just have these in our big tree. So it's a bit easier now, but again, take your time to go nice and detailed. And we want to leave our ground as white as we can, so be careful. So next we're going to fill in Little Red Riding Hood with red paint. Finally, once we finish painting in Little Red, we're going to paint in our last tree and our wolf. And we're just going to paint these in with black paint. I would suggest using your little brush here, because then you can also make some little extra offshoot branches if you want. It makes it look a little bit more creepy, a little bit more spooky, and it just gives a bit of extra detail. See here, I'm just adding a few little extra branches here and there, and just filling in all this tree. You can also use your big brush for some of the bigger areas. Just make sure you go very slow with the big brush. You don't want to be too overpowering with this black. Just want to fill in our tree here. You can also flip your canvas around. It makes it a bit easier to get certain angles. And we're going to fill in our wolf. I made mine a little bit bigger because I had smudged a bit of blue on my canvas. That way it kind of hides that little mistake there. Make sure you give the edges along the sides of its face nice and fluffy. Makes it a nice furry wolf. Alright, good job everybody. I will see you next time for a new painting. Bye-bye.